Hi, I'm Emily of British Girl Bakes, and I'm going to show you how to use bubble wrap to decorate a cake with this fun design. I'm starting with a few shades of pink buttercream, and this is my 4-minute buttercream tinted with gel colours. I'm building my cake, attaching the first layer with a dab of buttercream onto my cake board, and then spreading pink buttercream between the cake layers, getting darker with each layer. This will make it fun to cut into and also match the final design on the outside of the cake. I'm covering the whole cake in a layer of bright pink buttercream, with a thick layer on top of the cake because this will be visible later, but on the sides, this is just my crumb coat, which will be covered up soon, so it's fine if you can see the cake through it. It's just important that it completely covers all of the cake, from top to bottom, to prevent it from drying out, and that the sides and top are as straight as possible to make the next step work. I'm putting the cake in the fridge to set the frosting, and now this is bubble wrap, washed and dried to make sure it's clean. And this is acetate, which comes in a roll so it curves and wraps itself around the cake easily. And I've put the link for this extra tall acetate in the description below this video. I've measured the height and circumference of my cake with a ribbon, and now I'm using the ribbon to measure my acetate, and trimming it to size, adding a few inches to the width to make sure there isn't a gap where the two ends join after wrapping around the cake. I'm using the acetate as a guide to trim the bubble wrap the same height, and then taping it onto the acetate with the bubble wrap texture facing upwards. The acetate is useful here because it's much stiffer than the bubble wrap, so it's easier to wrap around the cake than bubble wrap alone. I've used 2 pieces of bubble wrap to cover up all of the acetate, and I'm spreading bright pink frosting onto the bubble wrap, making sure it's thick enough to completely cover the texture of the bubble wrap so that the surface on top is smooth, and that's what will be pressed against the sides of my cake. If you're enjoying this tutorial, please click the thumbs up button. By now my cake has chilled in the fridge, so I'm lifting up the bubble wrap on the acetate and wrapping it around the cake, using a fondant smoother to press it firmly against the cake, but you can use your hands instead if you prefer. I'm trimming off any excess acetate and bubble wrap, putting the cake back in the fridge to set this frosting, and after about an hour pulling the acetate off the cake to unwrap it, and it's peeling off the tape on the bubble wrap, unsticking itself. So next I'm peeling off the bubble wrap, leaving the textured bright pink frosting behind on the cake. Doesn't that look amazing? I'm spreading light pink buttercream around the base of the cake to match the light pink buttercream filling inside the cake, and then getting darker as I work my way up the sides of the cake. Because the bright pink frosting has already set, I'm not damaging any of the texture that's already on the cake. I'm just filling in the holes with these new colours of frosting. When the whole cake is covered with these pale pinks, I'm using a metal cake smoother to go around the cake a few times, taking off any excess frosting to leave the bright pink frosting behind, with the holes from the bubble wrap filled with pale pink. Bubble wrap doesn't make neat, perfect polka dots, but it does make a fun circular texture that you can mix a few colours into. The more inflated your bubble wrap is, the more pronounced your circles will be. You can see that the bubble wrap I used was a bit deflated. I'm smoothing out the top of the cake and making some bubble wrap decorations by melting pink and white candy melts and swirling them together, and then spreading them onto bubble wrap, putting them in the fridge for about an hour to set, and then carefully peeling them off the bubble wrap. This second one broke in half, but that's okay. Now I'll have 3 instead of 2. I'm going to stick these decorations into the top of the cake, so I'm lining them up where I want them, tracing along the bottom edge with a knife, and then widening the cut just a bit, and then gently push the decoration deeper into the frosting. I'm doing the same for the other 2 pieces, arranging them at an angle behind the first one, and I'll put the cake back in the fridge until a few hours before serving it so that the frosting sets around the decorations and holds them in place. Thanks for watching! If you have any requests for future tutorials, please write them in the comments below.